Thank you all for being here again. Happy Friday. We're going to talk about Agentic AI Explained today. Now, there are a lot of questions and a lot of confusions in the market on what this is not, who can do, who cannot do, what should be done to become an Agentic AI expert or Agentic AI augmented person, how can I leverage agents in my job. All of these questions will be answered today, guys. So by the end, you will be able to understand what agency is, what agency is not, how can you leverage this in your company, what is required, what skills are required, how can you go about it to learn, start learning and leveraging these agents in your organization. That will be the agenda for your session today. And over to you, Arihant.
Yeah, thank you, Sharath. Hi everyone. Um, Greetings to everyone. So I'll share my screen.
So just FYI, Arihant is an agentic AI expert. He is a lead data scientist. He is a Gen AI, agentic AI, AML engineer expert. He does do implementations and executions on creating agentic solutions for large-scale organizations. So today he'll be talking to you guys about what he is best at. Thanks, Arihant.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so as Sharath mentioned, right? So I have the industry experience, so I'll try to relate the agentic AI, like how it is being used in the industries. Okay, guys. So today's agenda is like, firstly, we'll be talking about like what is agentic AI, right? Second thing, we are going to talk about like whether the tech or non-tech people, right? Tech versus non-tech. This is a very common confusion whether the non-tech people can do this thing or not, right? Is it too technical that non-tech people will not be able to do it? Or is it quite straightforward where the non-technical can also do it? I don't see any challenge with the technical guys, right? But there is a very common confusion which is among the non-technicals. So whether we should go for this or not. Then we are going to talk about like what are the prerequisites, right? Or we can say what are the tools or technologies which will be used to master the agentic AI part, right? So this is what we are going to talk about. Then we'll be talking about the industry use cases, industry use cases, right? So I'll try to take the industry use cases from different domains, right? From the banking, from the finance, from the insurance, from the healthcare, right? Different domains. I'll be taking the examples so that you can relate, right? If you are coming from a healthcare background, so how agentic AI is being used in that, right? So we'll be talking about so that you can relate those things. And at the end, I'll be showing you one use case also, right? Practical use case, basically the practical implementation, I would say. Practical implementation, right? So where we will be taking one project and I'll show you like how we are going to create that project from the scratch. I'll show you the execution part also, like what will be the end result. Okay, so how it will be creating the test cases for me and everything basically, right? And for that, we will be using the GPT model, right? GPT LLM basically. Okay, so this is our agenda for today's session. And after that, right, we'll be taking the doubts. If any one of you have any doubts, then we'll be taking about that. Okay, so we are going to cover these topics in this sequence. Okay, so let's start with the first thing, which is like agentic AI, right? So when we talk about the agentic AI, right? So what is agentic AI? So agentic AI is where, you know, it can understand the task which you are giving and it can perform the actions accordingly. So what it can do, it can break your entire problem statement into the different small tasks and it can perform. Okay, for example, you just need to give the user goal here. What is the user goal, right? Then LLM will be called, right? LLM can be your Anthropic models, your GPT models, right? Or any open source models, right? Which from the Hugging Face. Then it will do some kind of planning, right? It will do some kind of planning. So which we call it as the orchestration also. Just like in a company, we have a manager. So manager takes the requirement from the business analyst, and then manager decides like to whom we should allocate this task, whether this task is for a UI developer, for a backend developer, for a tester for what, right? So this is called as the planner. So depending on that, different tools will be used, right? So like in the managerial example I was giving you, like UI developer, that is one of the tool. The tester, that is one of the tool, right? Java developer, that is one of the tool, right? So in this way, here we'll be having the access to the different tools, and then we'll be having the memory also, right? Memory in the sense like which can retain the things. It should not be like I'm giving the prompt and when I'm giving the second prompt, it is forgetting the previous thing. For example, when you talk about the chat GPT, when you keep on talking with him, it tried to relate your next question with the answer of the previous question, right? So why? Because it is storing the things in the memory. And after that, then we get the output, right? So this is what your agentic AI architecture looks like. So where your objective is just to give the goal, right? And all these steps will be performed by my agents, right? Will be done by my agentic AI basically, right? So whatever the user goal, right? For example, I want to book the flights, right? I want to go from USA to Canada, right? Simply, I will be giving this prompt to my agent, right? So that that I want to go from US to Canada for a 7 days holiday. Prepare a itinerary for me. So what it will do? Firstly, the LLM will come into the picture. LLM will understand your written sentence because you are going to write it in a simple plain English, right? You can make some grammatical mistakes also. You can make some, typo errors also. So it will try to understand all these things. Then the planner, right? Orchestrator will come into the picture. It will see like what are the different tasks I have to do, right? So what are the tasks I have to do? I have to prepare the itinerary also, right? I have to book the flights also. I have to book the hotels also, right? I have to compare also, like while booking the flights, it's not like I have to book very costly flight, right? I have to compare all the available flights, right? I have to see all the reviews also, which are positive reviews, and based on that, I have to book the flight, which is cheaper also, right? And where the duration should be short. It should not be like the cheapest flight with the duration of 2 hours was available, but I have booked for 10 hours. That should not be the case, right? So that means it is doing some kind of reasoning, right? So this is what it is done by the planner. And for that, we have the different tools, right? So for this, we will be having a different tool. For this, we'll be having a different tool. For this, we'll be having a different tool. So basically, all the things will be happening in parallel, right? Because hotels has nothing to do with the this thing, right? Yes, there can be some dependency, right? So like what is the departure time, what is this, but if these things can be done parallelly, so it will do all the things parallelly, and all the things are getting stored in the memory, and from there we are getting the output, right? So this is the entire roadmap of a agentic AI. This is what you as a developer will do, and this is what the companies are also looking for these days, right? So I'll give you one real-time example also. Like uh, I want to create a testing application in the sense the developer has created one code, and you as a tester has to test that code, right? Whether that code is working fine or not. So for that, there are so many different unit cases. We can have positive test cases, negative test cases. If it is if any of these test cases getting failed, then it should go back. It should update the code, and accordingly it should perform, right? So this is another example of this agentic AI. Okay, so now in this, when we talk about this is a very common question that whether, so I hope you understood the meaning of agentic AI, right? And how it is different from the Gen AI. So Gen AI is what? Just like a chat GPT, right? Where you are just giving a prompt and it is just giving you the answer. It is not taking any action on your behalf. If you will simply say, okay, uh, uh, you just paste the code into that and you are just asking, so do we have any problem in this code? It will simply tell, okay, this is the problem, but it is not going to modify that code in your existing code. Okay, so means GenAI is doing any specific task, right? But agentic AI, it is understanding also, and it is modifying also, and it is completing your entire execution and flow. Now, this is a very common confusion, right, between the tech versus non-tech, that whether the non-tech people can do this thing or not, right? Because here we need little bit of understanding of the code part also, or whether it is relevant to them or not, right? If they are going to apply for the jobs, whether this will be relevant to them or not. Now, definitely, I would say 100% it is relevant, right? Because nowadays companies are hiring only those people who can create the agents, right? So whether it is talking about the digital marketing, whether we are talking about the testing profiles, whether we are talking about the HRs, right? In every domain, companies are looking, right? If I'll talk about the HR's example also, so they have to go through hundreds of resumes for a single profile, for a single JD. Right now, if you are going to do it manually by checking all the resumes that which one is good, which one is bad, it will take like ages to complete that task. So what the companies are saying that we need to hire those HRs who have the understanding of agents also, so that those agents can go through, can screen all the resumes and get me the ATS score for each resume. And then it can sort out it in the descending order that whichever resume is the best suitable for my job description, it should give me that. Okay, so if I'll talk about in the medical, right, in the medical, it is being used a lot. So what I'm trying to say, it's not about technical or non-technical. Either you are in the technical domain or non-technical. In every job description, they are asking nowadays that person should know how to write the agents, how to create the agents. And for the coding part, very minimal coding is required. It's not like you have to a hard coder for this, because now even we have the AI tools who can do the coding for us. Right. So when we talk about the no code, right, when we talk about the VS code, when we talk about the anti-gravity, there are some tools, right, on which we do the coding. So we have the agents. We call them as the AI agents, which can perform the coding for us, right? So as a data scientist, our job is just to validate whether the code which is generated by the AI is correct or not. Okay, so instead of developing the code, our job is just to monitor it, right, whether it is doing the correct thing or not. Okay, so coming to this part, right? So definitely there is a need of agents to learn, right? For whether it's a technical profile or non-technical profile. If I talk about the technical, right? Almost in every job description, they want the person who needs this. Now, when we talk about the prerequisites, right? When we talk about the prerequisites, like what are the skills which are required for learning this? First skill which we need is Python, right? Python is a programming language, right? If you want to create any application, right, you should have the basic understanding of programming language, and Python is the one which is primarily used in all the companies for the AI part, for the agents part, and this thing. The second knowledge which you should have is about the LLMs, right? LLMs are also called it as the large language models. Large language models, right? What are these? For example, if I'll talk about the chat GPT, this is an end user application, but it is based on the GPT LLM, right? In the same way, you have some LLMs related to the Claude, Anthropic, right? So you have so many LLMs available on the Hugging Face, right? You have so many LLMs available on the Olama, right? So how we can use those LLMs to perform our task, right? So this is the second thing which you should be aware of. Third thing is to create any agentic AI application is that we should have the understanding of agent framework, right? Agent framework. Framework in the sense which will provide you the libraries, which will be providing you the functions, methods to create the code, to create the applications, right? So that is called as the agent framework. For example, you might have heard about the LangChain, right? LangGraph, right? QI, and there are so many other agents which are used for this, right? So there are you should have the understanding of the agent framework using which we can do. And fourth one is you should have the understanding of tools, right? Or we call it as a workflow tools. Workflow tools, right? For example, NA10, right? So where you don't need to do any coding, right? So this is the another way of creating it. Okay. Okay. So if I'll talk about the AI application, the agentic AI application, that can be created using two ways. One is using the coding and one is using the no code. So if you're going for the no code, so this is the one, right? Which we should be aware of, right? So if you have these four skills, right, you can create any agent. Okay, so that's why I was saying in the beginning also, like you should not be a hard coder. So if you have the basic understanding of the coding, so we can very easily create the agents, right? And I'll show you a sample also of the code, like what we are going to discuss today, that how with the minimal lines of code we can create our own agent. Now, if I'll talk about some real-time use cases, right? If I'll talk about some real-time use cases in the sense like in the different domains, like how it is being used. So if I'll talk about this, right? So if I'll talk about the first use case, which is the banking industry. Banking industry. Now, in the banking industry, it is used like anything, right? Almost each and every bank, right? So they are trying to implement this now, right? For example, the loan processing agent. Now, see, as of now, we have the humans, right? If I'll talk about the loan processing, if you apply or if any person apply for the loan, right? So what are the different steps it performs, right? For example, it read the application. This is the first step that think from a back-end point of perspective, right? The team of the banking, right, who open the loan account. So what they does? Firstly, they read the application, the user details, the details of the person who want to take the loan, his credit score, and everything. Then they check the eligibility rules, right? They validate the eligibility rules, right? Everything they do it manually, whether the person is earning or not, whether he has the sufficient salary or not, right? And all those things. Then it flag the risk also, right? Now, what are the risk, right? Whether he's working in a, in a unsecured company, right? So, or whether we should give the loan to this person or not. And based on that, it generates approval or rejection report, right? Whether the credit card will be approved or declined, right? So based on that, it decides it. Okay, so after that, right? So then it sends the automated emails. Then it sends the automated emails, right? So if I'll talk about this is the entire flow, right? So why I'm explaining you this thing? Because after this, I'm going to just give you the name of the applications. So here this is a sequential process, right? Some of the steps can be sequential and some of the steps can be parallel also. So as of now, humans are doing it, but you can create the agents, you can create the different tools for it, and which can perform the task, right? So everything is being automated nowadays, and for that they are hiring the people who can create the agents, right? So in the banking, this is the first application. In the banking itself, if I talk about the second application is like related to the KYC verification, right? KYC verification, right? Which extracts your ID documents. Cross verifies it with the database also. It detects the mismatch, whether your first name, last name is matching with the database first name is mismatch or not. And based on that, it generates the output. Third one, it can be fraud monitoring, right? As of now, we have the machine learning models which are generating the frauds, but those are doing very limited tasks. But what these agents will do or are doing, so they are monitoring the transaction patterns, right? They are identifying the anomalies, and based on that, they are generating the alert. And not only they are generating the alert, but they are giving the explanation also, like why this could be a fraudulent transaction, right? So in this way, you can have so many other examples related to the banking domain. Now, if I'll talk about the insurance domain, insurance. So just like in the banking, you were having the loan processing agent, here you will be having the claim assessment, claim assessment, right? So whether the claim which the company is getting is genuine or whether it is fake, right? It reads the claim documents, then it validates the policy rules that whether that claim should be passed or whether it should be failed. And then it estimates the payout, means all the human task will be done by the agents, right? So this is what the first example of this is. Right. Another example which I can think of insurance is like policy recommendations. this is a very big problem in front of the end users. That let's suppose if I want to purchase a policy, any health policy, car policy, motor policy, any policy, there are thousands of policies available on the in the market. So which policy is best for me, right? So what it will do, it will analyze the customer profile, what is my need, what is the requirement, right? And it will match the risk appetite also, how much risk I can take, and based on that it will recommend the best policy, right? If I'll talk about the healthcare domain, right? So here we can have like patient report summarizer, right? Patient report summarizer. So what does that mean? It will read your medical reports, right? It will generate the doctor friendly summarize, right? So for example, there is a patient who has been regularly visiting to the doctor. He might be going through some disease, a prolonged disease, and he's frequently visiting to the doctor. So now he's having a huge file which contains the doctor prescriptions and other things. Now it's very difficult for the doctor to to go through each and every document. So what the doctor will do, he will quickly scan through it and it will summarize the report for it, right? So what is that? It will be time which will be saved by this agents, right? Appointment scheduling, appointment scheduling, right? So this can be the another application. You want to schedule the doctor appointment. Now, you don't want to check your calendar when I am available, when I am not. Simply give the command to the agent that book a appointment for me on this day or on my next available day in this week. Automatically, it will check your calendar. If it has the access of your calendar, it will check your calendar and it will start recommending you that should I book the appointment for this day at this time, right? So all those things. So if I talk about from the coding point of perspective or testing rules, right? So here you can generate the test cases, and I'll show you the practically also this example, right? So test cases generation, right? Bug analysis report, right? Where we can analyze all the bugs and other things. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, so what I'm trying to say basically, so these are the different real-time use cases we have, right? So whichever company, whichever domain you belongs to, right? So there can be like hundreds and hundreds of use cases, right? Now I'll quickly revise what we have covered, then I move to the practical use case. Okay. So we have talked about the agentic AI, like what is agentic AI? Agentic AI is where you are giving the problem statement and the goal, and automatically it will decide that which path I have to follow. If multiple paths are there, it will be taking most optimized path. And if there are multiple tasks to achieve that, right, it will be giving those tasks to the different tools, right? For example, while booking a flight, I want to do the itinerary also, I want to book the flights also, hotels also, cabs also, everything will be done by the different things. Then we have discussed about like whether the non-tech people can do it, definitely, right? So whether there are sufficient openings for the non-tech people if they are going to complete this, definitely, right? So like whether you are in the medical domain or in the HR domain, in every domain, companies are looking for this. So these are the skills which are required, right? Like Python, right? You should have the understanding of LLMs. Again, in the Python, you don't have to go into very deep, right? Because you are not going for a Python developer role. Your objective is just to create a application, right? So which will be created by the LLMs only. Okay. So you should have the understanding of LLMs, large language models. You should have the basic understanding of the agent frameworks like LangChain, LangGraph, and the workflow tools, right? If you want to create the agents without any coding, so for that the workflow tools come into the picture. Okay, so these are the different tools, skills which are required. So that's why I was saying that even if you're coming from a non-tech side, if you do not have any basic understanding of the coding, so still it should be a good to go. And then we have talked about the real-time use cases, right? So from the banking domain, from the insurance, from the healthcare, from the developer role. Okay, so these are the 4 points which we have discussed till now, right? What is agentic AI, tech versus non-tech, prerequisites, tools, technologies, and the industry use cases. Now let's talk about the practical implementation of it. Now, what I'm going to show you now, right? So we'll be creating one project, right? We'll be creating one project on VS Code, right? So what we are going to do, a developer has written, right? Python developer has written code for us, okay? And we belong to a testing profile, let's suppose, right? Let's suppose we belong to a testing profile, right? We are a tester and we need to test that code, whether that code which the developer has written is correct or not, okay? And secondly, we have to generate the test cases. Right now, we have to do multiple things, right? First one is that we have to generate the test cases. Second thing is that if my tester will think like it can be optimized further, the code can be optimized further. So it will do the code optimization also. Code optimization also, right? I need to generate the Docker file also then, Docker file. And fourth thing is that I need to generate the comments also, right? So these are the multiple tasks I want to perform. As of now, in the companies, humans are doing it. But now, instead of human, right, I will be calling the LLM, right, and it will be doing all these tasks. So we are just going to pass a simple Python code, right, which is written by a Python developer, and my code will be generating the test cases around it. It will be doing the code optimization also. If my LLM will think, no, it is not correct, right? So there is a better way of writing this code, right? So it will be giving me that suggestion also. It will not replace that code, but it will be giving me the suggestion that I can go with that. Then we will be creating the Docker file around it, and then we'll be writing the comments also around it. Okay, so this is the application which we are going to do. So just give me a second. I'll quickly open the code and then I'll show you. Yeah. Okay. Now see, guys. So what I have done, right? So we have written a very small code, right? Just to test. Now, if you see, those who are coming from a coding background, they might be able to understand. So what we are doing here, we are just using a function. We are just creating a function, which is like divide underscore numbers, a comma b, and we are just dividing it, right? So this is a user-defined function which we have created here. Now, what we are doing, we have written a AI assistant here. This is a AI assistant. Now, what it will do, we are saying that you are a senior Python engineer. Review the following code and provide feedback on the bugs, error handling, and the best practices, right? So here, if you will see, coder is not using the best practices. He is not handling the divide by zero error, right? So all those things it is not doing. So that is what we are doing. So, and here we are going to use the GPT model. Okay. Then it will do the test case generation also. So here we are saying generate the unit test cases for the following Python function, use the PyTest and coverage cases. Again, for this, we are using the GPT and it will generate the Docker file. Generate a Docker file for a Python application containing the following code. Use the best coding practices. Explain nothing, output only this thing. Okay. Now I'll show you like how it will look like. So I'm just going to run the code. Okay. So instead of this, let me open the command prompt, right? Python AI assistant.py. Now, if you see here on the left hand side, I have only three files: AI assistant.py, input code.py, and requirements.txt. Right now, you will see. Okay, so what we will do? Let's activate it. Conda activate. Okay, so now Python AI underscore assistant.py. Now on the left hand side, if you will see, right, so we have only these three files, right? AI assistant, input code, and requirements.txt. Now you will see my code is running and it is going to generate some more files. In one file, it will be generating the, now see, this is the new code review underscore txt. The entire thing now it is written by my agents, right? So here, if you will see what it is saying, provided code is a simple function that divides two numbers. Here's a review based on the criteria you specified. Bugs. What is a bug we have in the application? It is saying division by zero. The function does not handle the case where b is zero, and that is right. That is right. So here, if you will see, if the b is zero, a divided by zero will be nothing, right? So it is not handling that thing. Okay, so that is what it is written here. Error handling, exception handling, right? The function should include the error handling. Type checking, it is not checking the data type, right? Instead of a number, if the user is giving string, it will throw me the error. So these are kind of things, right? And see, here's a revised version of the function that incorporates the feedback. Now see, it is beautifully, it is creating that function. So it is saying use this function instead of this code, right? Whatever we have given. So the original function is a function but lacks error handling at this. See how beautiful it is giving the feedback. And this is the role of a manager also. Manager also reviews the code and do this thing. Now, this is the Docker file. This is those who are aware about the ML ops and other things, right? They might be knowing the Docker file, right? So this is a Docker file which is created by my model, by my agents. Test cases. See, these are the different test cases which has been created. Divide zero, right? So this one is a positive test case. This is again another test case. See, these are the different test cases. So many test cases which my this thing has created, right? And here it is giving the explanations also, that it tests the division of two positive, this one, error cases, and so on. So what I'm trying to say here, that as of now, the testers, the manual testers, right? They are right. They used to write these codes, all the test cases, but now these test cases have been generated by my agents. Second thing, Docker file. These are generally written by the MLOps engineer, but now that task has been done by my agents. Third thing is the code review. So generally this code review is done by the managers. They review the code, they find the errors, they find the issues, they find whether it can be optimized or not, right? After that, they send back it to the developer. But now this is being done by my model. Model in the sense the agents. So how beautiful it has created these things, right? And if you see the code is very straightforward, right? This is the, like, how many lines? Hardly 70 to 80 lines of code we have written, right? Which is performing their own task. Right here, we are using the OpenAI API key, and this is our GPT model which we are using, guys. Is it clear?
Great, clear for
Uh,
me.
okay.
I'm a
Okay.
non-tech guy, so thank you so much. Guys, we will start taking questions in the chat. Meanwhile, I have a quick run through. Thank you so much, Arihan, for running us through this. I hope this was pretty clear for a lot of people, but we are open for questions. While we are open for questions, we'll just do like 3 minutes and wait for the questions to be taken. And meanwhile, I have a small snippet that I wanted to show you that is really helpful for you to understand how agent or agentic AI is taking over our space, which is IT. So here we go. Okay, awesome. So let's take a step back here. Uh-oh. Guys, if you see, the agentic AI revolution is not a future anymore. It is present, or it already has started. If you see the research from IDC, it predicts 1.3 billion AI agents by 2028. 25K McKinsey. So McKinsey has about 60,000 employees, of which 25K are agents only at this time. 50% of the organizations are already using agents in automating work streams and business processes. Great lines said by a lot of great people in the AI place. The future developer in the future is not, AI is not going to replace you. Any developer who knows AI or who knows to develop agents or LLMs is going to replace us. So why not be us, right? If you also see, I brought up some stats for you guys here. From 2024 to 2026, last 1 year, there was a 282% jump in AI agent adoption, 40% through enterprise app embedding, 88% enterprise AI adoption rate, 15% autonomous decisions making, because autonomous is still getting, and there's a lot of experimentation going on. Autonomous decision making is just at 15%, but it's a great place to be in. It was at 4% in last year. So it's almost triple where it was. Now, I have identified, I think, Arihant has put up a lot of use cases in a great way, but I've pulled up some data which I'm not going to go in depth and bore you guys. I'll share you this if you want. But every role is being touched by AI. Is it the product owners and product managers? Right now, it's already doing summarizing, analyzing, generating the feature ideas, creating the BRDs, PRDs, and all of the futures. It is going to, in future, the same role, the agents are going to propose roadmaps, predict the churn, simulate feature adoption, auto prioritization, all of that. Software developers, currently code generation, unit testing, code refactoring, documentation is being done by agents already. In future, it's going to implement complete features, fix bugs, run CI pipelines, CI/CD pipelines, create pull requests, deploy microservices. The QA is already has taken over. The DevOps and cloud area is already taken over. Security is already started. Support services is lot, almost 50% is already taken over. Data analytics team is already taken over. Agents are everywhere, guys. If you're not seeing now, that will come soon to us. Now, I just summed up all the data there. Currently, the developer write codes with agents being used as we move into the future. You are just supervising the agents doing the work. The QA writes test manually. I think you've clearly seen right now, it has already written the code for you in the test cases. You are just overseeing the quality. DevOps, you only monitor, you go on the autonomous operations. You'll only look at it. Support, you will only be managing the edge cases, but everything else is handled by the agent only. In product, you are no more writing requirements. You are taking guidelines with AI decisions. Security, you are not looking out for security, but you are supervising the auto defense. I've also brought up, very quickly, this is like data before 5 minutes before our webinar or the masterclass has started. If you see the generative AI, agentic AI, the salaries minimum at 113 to 100, 267, 350, 15, 275, 200,000. On the higher side are almost, or not every, maximum of them are about 250. It has a great potential, guys. Now, where do we come in this picture? Arihant was talking about you have to learn Python, you have to learn Gen AI systems, you have to learn creating architectures of agents, you have to learn one other thing I forgot, but then all of these are covered in our particular bootcamp. The Agentic AI bootcamp that we do is designed for folks and professionals who are actually working in the organizations, because you need practical implementation skills. You don't need fluff. You don't need theory. You want projects. So this is 100% curated for folks like you guys. It is 52 hours curriculum, 100% live, 100% live virtual classes. There is no videos that you are watching. It is 180% practical and 20% concept learning. We offer you 12 projects and a end-to-end capstone project. We will help you execute that using 15 different tools that are enterprise grade, that you will be utilizing the same tools in the organization also. You will complete the projects code sharing in that. Your portfolio will be built. You will become, this is completely working professional friendly. The timings are either on the weekend or on the weekday in the evenings. If you by chance miss out a large portion of the Agentic AI bootcamp, you are allowed to sit in one of our other cohorts one time so that you completely finish the program. We 100% guarantee the job, the refund policy for if you are not satisfied with the training. We also help you with job readiness. We are not saying job guarantee, we are saying job readiness program, which means we will help you with resume refinement, LinkedIn refinement, GitHub setup, and mock interviews. So there is a huge need for what we are looking at here currently. And then we are here helping you with solving the problem. The exact problems, the programs are not very lengthy. The timings are not bad. You are completely working project methods, so you will not get bored. And the goal of the program is, at the end, you will be able to create your own agents and leverage those agents in the organization. These are enterprise grade agents. Also, there is no code tools also we are talking about. NI10 is also something that we talk about. So the framework wise with code, enterprise grade, NI10, enterprise grade. So the goal is that you learn to do agents, create agents, and leverage them in your organizations. That's the promise that we're giving you guys. that too in 52 hours. That is 6 weeks, approximately 7 weeks. So that's all I have, folks. So we are open for questions. I'm here, Arihant is here, my team is here. I will gladly take your questions. If you want to raise your hand or put it in the chat, we can take your questions, folks. You can send out messages only to the hosts and co-hosts. Preferably, please do send out messages to me, so I will take your questions and get it answered.
Yeah. So I think we have one question from Sheikh. So knowing the fact that in today's world GPT can write the whole code with all the functionality, do you think writing code is still a required skill? So definitely, Sheikh. I mean, this is a very valid question which Sheikh has asked. So guys, Sheikh is asking like, if GPT can write all the codes for us, then is there a requirement to learn the coding? The answer is yes. Still, there is a requirement to learn the coding, Sheikh. The reason is because if GPT can write the code, we need the developers who can understand whether the code which is written by GPT is correct or not. Right? Otherwise, blindly, we cannot implement that code. Firstly, that is the first reason. Second reason is, yes, GPT can write the code, but when we talk about the real-time applications, right, those are not the standalone applications. So some applications are interrelated, right? And that at that point of time, our GPT cannot help, right? So some programs are in one code, some programs in another file, some programs in the third file. So that kind of integration, we only developers can do it, right? That is the second reason. And third reason is it cannot understand the business problems, right? The logics, business logics. The GPT cannot understand the business logics. So that is where the companies are paying to us like $100,000, $200,000 salaries for it, right? So we as a human can understand the business logics and then we can implement it, right? In short, what I'm trying to say that GPT can write the codes for us, but obviously the humans will be required to validate it, whether it is solving all our business logics or not. And secondly, whatever the code is written is correct or not.
And so do we have any placement support for Canada and US folks? Yes, we definitely have placement support. It's not going to be like, we are not promising you a job from our side, but we are promising you to make you job ready. So when there is a opportunity that arrives at you, we will prep you for that. Okay, so Paramita, let's see, we have one question from yeah. So what are the skills required by middle managers for agentic AI? Do they need to code? The require for code is there, but you do not need to be an expert. I think Arihant and I was talking earlier about the requirement for Python, but most of your code is written by large language models. So basically, you'll need to understand the problem and the problem that you're trying to solve versus and also in an entry level or a good amount of Python that we are going to teach you in the bootcamp and prior to the bootcamp that will help you brush up on your Python skills, which is enough for you to do this agentic solutions. So what that is exactly, we have a course that we help you with, a 6-hour recorded prerequisite taught by the trainers again, clearly outlines on what is the requirement and helps you with understanding exactly how much Python you need. And those skills will be achieved by the time you attend the bootcamp. So you are pretty clear when you join the bootcamp. If you have a follow-up question, I'm going to, yes, unmute yourself, ask you to unmute. Just a second. Paromita, I've requested you to unmute. And then I think my team has launched a poll there to help you guys. So please do complete the poll. Paromita, if you have a follow-up question, then if go straight to the point, what is the business model? Onboard candidates and place them for each them by selling course. Onboard candidates and place them, or just teach them by selling course. Well, see, what do? We make your job ready. We are not promising you a job. What we do is we help you get ready for the job. We help you with mock interviews. We help you with all the skills required for you to complete your interview, pass your interview, ace your interview. We help you with your resume refinement. We help you with your LinkedIn refinement. We help you with setting up your GitHub profile. So this way, we are not promising you a job ourselves, but then we are helping you get job by yourself. You are not attached to us or linked to us in any way. Our goal, our promise is to make you job ready. That we will do, guys. So there's a question asking in the chat, so that's what I was answering, folks. Okay, we have put the links to a lot of good material on the chat. You can access that. We have a meetup community of about 1,500 folks. We have a WhatsApp community about 200 plus folks. What other questions do you have, folks? Am I missing any question, team, that you sent me out here? Any other questions, team? So will I have job? Will I have skills to create agents that I will be creating in the organization? Yes. So we have about 13 different projects plus one capstone project. So you will be executing 14 different projects overall. That will give you expertise on creating agents by yourself. Whichever requirement that comes in your organization, you will be able to create agents by yourself. Given the company or organization has already started adoption of the agents, yes, you will definitely be able to create those agents. Obviously, the knowledge that is required to create the agents will be provided by us. And the requirement from your side, obviously, is to understand the problem and also have the domain knowledge so you can create a agent that actually solves the problem that is requested for. Awesome. What are the tools used in demo? Can you share the links to AI progress stats that you shared? Yeah, I can share that. And what were the tools used in the demo? In the demo, it was what development tool was it? Arihant? Um, what
Uh,
the tool
yeah,
used in the demo currently?
VS Code, VS
VS
Code.
Code, VS Code, VS Code.
Yeah.
Ravi, that is VS Code, and we can share you the data that you requested for. I have your contact. Okay. So we have a lot of folks here, 20 folks. We have time, 6 more minutes. And then what other questions do you have? Can non-tech folks do this? I think yes. Yes, I think Arhant has mentioned earlier that non-tech folks can do this and then create agents. Like I mentioned, there is a lot of requirement in the non-tech area too, because agents are not just used in technical IT. Agents are used in marketing, agents are used in sales, HR, all kind of departments, right? So there is a lot of requirement in non-tech also, and people have been learning this and implementing. We had one stockbroker from Switzerland who joined our class earlier last year, mid of last year. So he's learned how to design agents, and then he went back and started implementing it. We had one customer service director right now. I think he's in the current cohort that he's working on. So he's learning to create agents, and then he's going to implement that in his organization. So the director has come in as is in the current cohort right now. His goal is to go back and implement it in his organization. So it's purely customer service. So any other questions, folks? Okay, when are these boot camps? So we host these boot camps in the weekends. That is weekends, it's 8 hour per week. We are not going to overburden with a lot of things. It's 8 hour a week. If it's a weekday, it is going from 8 to 10 Eastern PM. If it's a weekend, it's going from 9 to 1 a.m., 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. This goes for about 7 weeks. Once you graduate from your Agentic AI bootcamp itself, then you will be moved to the job readiness program if you are at all interested. So we have career coaches who will help you with all the stuff that I was talking about. Identifying what roles you want to apply, make sure that your resume is ATS ready, your LinkedIn is 100% perfect, and then your GitHub is set up, and then your mock interviews will be set up with the subject matter experts. We include 2 to 3 mock interviews, but if you would like to do more mock interviews with the subject matter expert, that can be accommodated with an additional cost. Will this recording be shared? Yes. Any other questions, folks? Will I get hands-on experience on the tools? Yes, you will definitely get hands-on experience on all the tools that we are talking about. I think we have about, let me go ahead and share you the brochure here that we very quickly talk about. Well, these are all the tools that we will be using during the bootcamp. LangChain, AutoGen, Chroma, OpenAI, Crew, Cloud, Docker, Fias, Hugging Face, Pandas, Pinecode, MATLAB. You'll get hands-on experience. And with using these tools, you will be executing all of these projects. So you will either do one capstone project or use case 2, and then you will do use case 1 or between both of this. Once you are done with this, we are also working on multiple other projects in a GitHub setup for all of our folks who have joined our cohort. You will have access to additional projects too. We have about 35 AML projects, 15 different Agentic AI, 14 different Agentic AI projects, 15 Gen AI, and ML Ops about 13. So if you see the outline of this particular program, we start with we talk about Agentic AI foundations, architectures, frameworks, prompt engineering, Gen AI, memory agents, planning and reasoning, multi-agents collaboration, agent and deployment infrastructure. We'll also talk about security, agent as a service, MCP, A2A, and different protocols. We've also added another one, which is NI10 here. That is also added, and the introduction to Gen AI for Agentic AI is also added. All of this will be taught in this particular bootcamp. The goal is, at the end, you will become enterprise-grade Agentic AI developer, along with your domain skills. Thank you all. Thank you, Arihan, for being us with here today, and everyone for stopping by on the weekend. Thank you all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.